I think it would be a disservice for teams not to make the call and ask the question. I really do.
Hank McCoy.
I've been watching your draft combine work, and it's been very impressive, man.
I appreciate it.
You've done a fantastic
Hey, 4
job.
hours of TV is not easy.
And I've enjoyed every minute of it, man. I've been locked in. You guys have done a fantastic job. My question is, one, since you're there and you were doing all that work, is there a draft prospect that you've seen in your time down there that may not be getting enough hype that you're like, hey, this kid could be a player? And then the second part is, what are you seeing from Bronny James? What's the if you can give me that.
Yeah, awesome. So one of the things that I've done for the last 6 or 7 years is, which I love doing, it's a lot of work and time, is I work with agents to help their clients prepare them for their interview when they meet with teams. So on average, this year I've done about 60 players in the 3 weeks before the combine. I started with Jason Tatum 7 years ago, and kind of just built up a network here. And it gives me some really good insight into who they are, and then I can go on TV and talk about them and really share their story. The one player, I said this on, I think it was Wednesday, that I really enjoyed meeting with, I enjoyed watching him at UC Santa Barbara, was AJ Mitchell, who was a 3-year guy from Belgium, defends like crazy, plays point, 6'5", good body, really competed in the combine.
The Google machine in Phoenix just skyrocketed right now.
I love guys that can compete in Chicago. I know the body of work of what you've seen during the course of your I think he played hurt this year too. He told me for most of the year, but still was out there. Got better that's your 3-year guy, right? That's a guy that you draft, you could probably put him in a game right away. So I enjoyed watching him, getting to know him. Bronny is interesting because McDonald's All-American, coming out of Sierra Canyon. We all know about what happened last July with the cardiac arrest. Doesn't play basketball for basically 4 or 5 months, right? Doesn't pick up a ball. Gets put into I would say, somewhat chaotic situation at USC, a team that a lot of people thought were going to be better. Like, things were like chaos there, right? Like, off the rails. 19 minutes, 27% from 3, 30, 5 points, really nondescript. Comes to Chicago. I went out to LA to talk with him, met with him. I loved him. He was terrific. Awesome personality, engaging, got big. He's up to 215 right now, like all muscle, could play like outside linebacker for you. Shot the heck out of the ball when I saw him in LA. Shot the heck out of the ball Monday night in the combine, right? So that raised everyone's eyes, right? When you're shooting 19 to 25 from 3, I don't care if there's 3 other guys out there. It's still pretty impressive, and his mechanics looked really good. Now we get to Tuesday, and now we're all expecting everything. We're expecting his dad to show up. We're expecting all these different things. And he struggled, right? They had him playing point, not a point guard. Doesn't measure great, 6'1.5" without shoes. So he's probably, 6'2 1/4. So what is he, right? He's a small 2 guard. He can defend like crazy, right? So his comp, when he talked to me, when he did his media was Davion Mitchell. Like, I asked, which is great. I love players when I ask them, who do you like to watch and who do you like to study? And when they say, well, I like Damian Lillard. Do you play like Damian Lillard? No, I just like how he shoots the ball. I'm like, okay, who do you like to watch? Davion Mitchell. Okay, why? Well, I love how he defends. Okay, so Tuesday he struggles. Wednesday they play him off the ball. They've got Mark Sears from Alabama playing point. Mark didn't play the day before because he had a quad injury. And then they had A.J. Johnson, who's a Fresno kid who played in Australia last year. So both those guys played. So Bronny plays off the ball and plays really well. I mean, shoots 4 for 10. But in game 1, all he would take was a little floater down the lane, right? Like, really, that was kind of like, is that the only thing he has? Made a step back, hit a corner 3, was really active, good on defense. So now it's like, okay, he can play, right? Like, I think he's an NBA level player. I think Gavoni moved him up to like 54 on his top 100. He was like at 98. So there's movement there. Do I think he's a first round prospect? Probably not. I don't think though. Do I think he can get drafted? I do. Is there teams in the 20s or 30s that you think, okay, remove the dad factor here, right? Like it drives me crazy. Like, well, if we draft him, or is it dad coming too? Like, let's just worry about the player. Like, do I think he can step on an NBA floor next year? Probably not. Right? I think you would probably see him more in the G League. I think he's a work in development. I think he's an investment, two-year investment, and then you could probably see him on the floor. But that's with most late first-round guys, second-round picks, two-way guys that you're going to see him with their G League team here. So I think he helped himself. I think he helped himself competing. What he does in his individual workouts over the month will certainly help. But I would not be stunned at all when, for our sake, because we had 2 nights of the draft, that on day 2 he gets selected somewhere here. Where, I don't know. Would it be teams that have multiple picks and you want to take a flyer and you got what you want for somebody that would help you? I could see that. Does it make sense if you're picking 15 to take them and you need a player? That might be a little bit more of a reach there.
Oh. Okay, well, so it sounds like you're saying that LeBron James might take a nice little vet minimum just to come here. Is that what I heard?
22.
All that. That's all I heard.
But here, let me. I'm going to be actually serious in this. I like the question. I'm going to be serious. I think it would be a disservice for teams not to make the call and ask the question. I really do, and I think there's a multi-step process here. I think first of all, get your scouts in a room. Usually you don't start doing your board until like the weekend before the draft starts. So we would bring our guys in like Saturday, Sunday. Scouts would be doing your top 60, top 75, and that's how you start doing it. I do think there's probably a conversation you have with your scouts now and say, hey, give me a preliminary big board, right? Give me your top 60, top 75, and let's see where. Listen, if you get it and Bronny's not on there, it's a little bit of a stretch there. But I do think there's a conversation with the agent. Rich Paul saying, hey, we have interest in him at 20. I'm just hypothetical. We have interest in him at 22. Where do you see what's LeBron going to do? Right? Like, our situation here. Like this is what we got. We got $3 million, right? We have a really appealing developmental program. This is not about the dad. This is about, investing long-term in him, all that stuff. But I do think it's worth having the conversation. I really do. I mean, I think every team has to have the conversation. Because until you ask, you never know.
Couldn't agree more, Bobby.
I mean, Matt Ishbia has been gung-ho from day one of building out that G League team and getting better at the development of younger players.